the Congress weakens, the BJP gets stronger. In fact, they're getting stronger. Guess who said this? I'm Pallavi Ghosh, and my this week's One Take actually asked this question about the so-called churning out process within the Congress party. I won't even call it churning out, because for churning, some things need to change, but the party seems to be in a state of limbo still. Now, to go back to the original comment, guess who made it? No, it was not Mamata Banerjee. No, it was not the Trinamool Congress, who have actually been making these kind of comments, because this is how they are saying that the Congress has now become a liability for opposition unity. It was actually made by one of the G-23 members, Ghulam Nabi Azad. He made this comment to my colleague Mufti Isla in Srinagar when he was talking about the fact that some things are just not changing within the Congress party. For example, he was talking about the fact that, many of his thoughts and the suggestions or the leadership does not listen anymore. There have been suggestions which were given in that letter which was written to Sonia Gandhi, I would say almost a year back. And in that letter, they had made the point that you need to hold elections. Have the elections been held? No. The CWC certainly has met, but they need to meet again, and tariq pe tariq. Dates kept on being given, commitments are made, but the movement doesn't seem to be taking place. At the last CWC meeting, Sonia Gandhi, instead of focusing on the BJP and training her attacks on them, she trained her guns on actually the G-23. She said, I'm a hands-on Congress president, and also the fact is that they don't have to talk to me through the media. She was obviously referring to comments which were coming in from some of the G-23 members and that Kapil Sibal press conference just after the electoral results, and also what was happening in Punjab, the massive infighting which was taking place in Punjab. That was one problem which was taking place, which is what she focused on. But have things changed after that? The Congress party still seems to be stumbling for answers, especially in poll-bound states. Whether you're looking at Punjab, we are going to look at Uttar Pradesh, we are talking about Uttarakhand, and the TMC is surging ahead. It is making inroads into those areas which traditionally should have been just a BJP-Congress fight. Now look at Goa very quickly. There are pot shots which certainly keep on coming in from the Congress party's social media department, but what after that? Yes, many argue that the Trinamool Congress perhaps is not even going to win that one seat. But in a battle, in any fight, what is important that you put up a fight. Your name is registered. Now tomorrow, suppose in the Goa elections, the BJP wins again, or if the Congress by chance wins, there will be a discussion which is going to take place on Mamata Banerjee. And that is what the TMC wants. And that's the point which Ghulam Nabi Azad raises. I was speaking to one of the senior leaders of G-23 who has been a cabinet minister and at one point of time very, very close to the Gandhis, and actually to Sonia Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi. He tells me, we are not wanted anymore. I asked him this question, why are you saying so? They said, look at the present parliament session. I am a senior leader. I have understood the workings of the parliament. And in the latest issue about why they decided to boycott the Constitution Divas, the BJP used it to their advantage by saying that look at these opposition parties and the Congress, a party which had brought emergency into a country does not even understand the value of the Constitution. When they were not able to defend themselves, they came to me and I stood up and gave a strong defense for the Congress party. But for press conferences, I'm not called. Press conferences held inside Parliament, I'm not called. On statements on the parliamentary procedure, I am not called. There are many like me who are feeling left out. And it is this G-23 which are vulnerable for poaching. Well, of course, many would argue and many of you would say, who wants to take them? Who are important? But if you look at the pictures which Ghulam Nabi Azad is putting out on his social media timeline, the pictures are trying to tell a story. And that story is being told by Azad to the Gandhis, huge crowds. He is going back to his home state, of which he was a chief minister at one point of time. There are massive crowds which are taking place. And he is trying to send out this message that, listen, I matter. So this is the question. Are they now slowly emerging as local satraps or power centers themselves, because they cannot be a part of the power center of the Congress party because new leaders are coming in and these people are being looked upon as a traitor? Go back to Azad's example. If you just look at those pictures of this huge crowd which Azad has gathered, there is a crisis for the Congress party there as well. All the members of the Congress unit have resigned. They were the ones who owed their allegiance to Ghulam Nabi Azad. Messaging to the central leadership is very strong. You cannot ignore Azad. Now, I know it's not a complete state, but it's also a state of which the Congress party has been a part of. It's also a state where Rahul Gandhi repeatedly talks about his Kashmir roots, the fact that his family has a connect and always had a connect with the valley and with Jammu and Kashmir, so to say. Now, in such a situation, if the Congress party registers a zero and Ghulam Nabi Azad emerges as a kind of a local satrap, someone who could be vulnerable to overtures by any political party who are a stakeholder, for example, the BJP. For the BJP and Azad on their side would be a win-win situation, because first, he belongs to a minority community, second, because he's a part of G-23, and your enemy's enemy becomes your friend, though Azad would not want to call himself as an enemy of the Congress party. But remember when Azad was giving his farewell speech inside Rajya Sabha, how the Prime Minister had spoken about him very emotionally. And in a private moment, Ghulam Nabi Azad did confess to me that I was very touched. I was respected, and that's the kind of respect which I'm not even getting in my party. I got it from the Prime Minister. It means a lot. Of course, because he's a stakeholder in Kashmir elections and Kashmir politics, he has to periodically hit out at the BJP. But by and large, this very strong interview or comment of his sends us a very, very strong message, which if I was in the Congress party and I would have the reins of it, I would sit up and watch very, very closely. You know, another senior leader of G23 told me, we are just going to be now waiting. Don't think that just because we are silent, we are not giving interviews, or we are not speaking out like Azad Saab did, means that everything is fine. We are not only feeling left out, we are also going to be watching how the Congress party does in the state elections. If they win Punjab, it is not too much of a credit to the Congress party. These are the words of the senior leader to me. But because there are no alternative, because the dynamics being there. But if the Congress party is a wipeout in, say, Punjab, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Goa, and the TMC starts making massive inroads, we are not going to be keeping quiet. So what does it mean? Does it mean that someone like an Azad and others will actually split the party or walk away from the party? Well, frankly speaking, I don't know how many of them may actually be able to win people over. There's the same dilemma which is being faced by Captain Amrinder Singh. Now, because the image of Captain Amrinder Singh is someone as a laid-back politician, therefore, when he has decided to float his party, how many of the sitting MLAs who have a chance of getting a ticket actually be a part of it? Will they actually join him? As of now, the sense is that those who may not get a ticket are the ones who are likely to join Captain Amrinder Singh. And that's why for him it is very important to have a BJP as a backup. Now, these G23 members, if they start reaching out to the BJP, that's going to be a huge setback for them. In fact, what has given the Congress an edge is the fact that Captain has reached out to the BJP. And you know, in Punjab elections, the BJP is being seen as a pariah. The anger over the farm laws is still not gone, despite the fact that it has been repealed. Now, in the case of these G23 members, if any of them decides to go across to the BJP, it is just going to endorse a point of view within the Congress party that those who start questioning the party don't actually care for the party. They're only looking in for greener pastures. That's as far as them. But you know, it's not the BJP. It's now the Trinamool Congress which is emerging as an attractive alternative. Senior leader again of the Trinamool Congress told me that 15 of the G23 members have reached out to us because they want to join the Trinamool Congress. But the TMC is only going to weigh the pros and cons. We are not going to take anyone just because they want to join us. We are not desperate. They may be desperate. So what can really happen for someone like an Azad future? See, I think Azad is in a little better of situation because in the valley he's been gathering huge crowds. The Congress unit is almost decimated. The stakeholders are very much there, so he can always emerge as an alternative because of his history as a chief minister of the state. Now, if you look at the other members of the G23, many of them are either just seen as armchair politicians or those who are think tank politicians, not really the rooted politician. But you know, in today's politics, they also come in handy. And therefore, the importance of the G23 should not be dismissed of. Also, when you're down and out and you're very low, the perception battle matters much, much more. You have to win the perception battle that, look, we matter, people do want to come to us, they are not leaving us, they are not deserting us. Now what happens is, suppose the electoral results come out, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and then the G23 members start speaking out and say, look, we told you so. The attack, but naturally, is going to be on the Gandhi siblings, because it's very clear that despite the fact that Sonia Gandhi has said that I am a 24/7 Congress leader, the shots are actually called by the Gandhi siblings. You know, you have all these senior leaders actually going to Rahul Gandhi or to Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, all decisions are being taken there. Now knives will be out. And that's something which like Kapil Sibal, Ghulam Nabi Azad, and Manish Tiwari for that matter, who have been one of the most aggressive vocal members of the Congress party who have been speaking out, they are the ones who are likely to hit out at the Gandhi siblings, which is why I said when you're down and out, the perception battle matters a lot. Now, if you go into a Congress headquarters, the younger lot, the ones who are now part of the Rahul Gandhi coterie, keep on taking pot shots at Ghulam Nabi Azad. Why Congress headquarters? If you just look at a social media timeline of these younger leaders or the ones who are now emerging as power centers, they keep on calling them traitors. They keep on saying that, look, these are the people who want to go to a TMC, they go to a BJP, and at a time when the Congress party could do with all help and support, they are not supporting us. Instead, what they are doing is they are making statements which can harm us. Ghulam Nabi Azad said that whenever the Congress weakens, if the BJP gets stronger, this is something which has actually is a voice which is being raised by many of those who are a part of the Rahul Gandhi coterie, that look, these are the kind of comments which are timed just before elections, which actually helps the BJP, and therefore they are in true sense a traitor. Which is why I'm coming back to the same question once again, is that will Ghulam Nabi Azad actually make a difference? Will Ghulam Nabi Azad's comments and many like him actually create a problem for the Congress party? Yes, I think so, which is why it is going to be important to watch out what the electoral results are going to be all about, because again we are going to come back to the same situation at the same point which is being raised by the G-23 members. Do give in your reactions on the social media timeline. The question is that will these leaders emerge slowly as a satrap? Will they try to project their zone of influence as their area? For example, Bhupendra Hooda, who also was a signatory of the G-23 letter. Will Haryana be the big battleground where they're going to show down the Congress central leadership? Do watch that space. As I said, this is an election season. Do give in your reactions. What is it that you want us to discuss? And those electoral results are going to be important for the Congress party, and perhaps the real churning out will take place, and perhaps the Congress party top leadership will also start looking at the mirror. Thank you so much for watching.